B is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Bob, you're on.
Wow, it's Tuesday morning, and it is May 15th, 2018. Is it the 15th or the 17th today?
15th.
It's the 15th. I've
Yes.
got April 17th in my chart. I think that was last month.
That was last month, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. I'm Bob Plass. I am sitting in a chair that makes me
You look a
feel
little
like...
short.
I'm a day late and $1 short.
I'm feeling low this
Wait a minute.
morning.
I should have brought out some Randy Newman or something to start off the show.
Oh, there we are. Okay, now I'm sitting on this chair. Now that we have a new chair that actually goes up to reach my great height, so I am the tallest person here, and
I prefer to sit low, so the camera can see over me and.
I see. I am not a low sitter at all. I like to sit high on every chair.
I don't like my
sit
feet dangling.
Oh, I don't mind the feet dangling.
I do.
I need a back though to my chair. I need a back.
Yes.
When I'm sitting, you're very short today. Trusty, lusty, dusty, and musty sidekick over there.
Looking down upon your partner here? I don't understand.
Yes, that's JPEG Luca. Hey, and the March is Merry Mixmeister of Music. Is that it?
No, the Merry Mixmeister of May. We're not in March anymore.
Although he often mixes music.
I do.
I got it. I'm going to offer you a coffee.
Thank you, Bob.
Here's a report from Dunkin' Donuts where I just encountered the former resting bee-faced woman. Remember her?
Please don't keep referring to her.
I'm not going to.
Way.
This is the last time I'm going to do that because she was waiting.
I get $1 that says it's not.
She was waiting for me today with smiles. And I asked her how Carter was doing. Her little boy, he's so lovely, and he sleeps all night long.
That's a good thing.
We had a problem because they have 5 coffees, and they only have a, what do you call this, container?
A carrier.
A carrier for 4, so she was very concerned.
There's a spot in the middle.
Well, the problem was I needed one for milk and stuff, and that one doesn't really do it, and she was so concerned that I was going to fall.
I really think we should raid one of the dumpsters around here and find a fridge for this place.
Well, I don't know. We'd still have to buy stuff to bring it in. So
I understand that, but you get a container, not a cup.
Yeah. Did I give you your coffee yet?
You did, yes.
Oh, all right.
I got mine. Yeah.
Now,
Thank you.
Oh, one of them has.
The milk in it, yes.
One of them has.
Bob's all discombobulated this morning. I don't know if everybody noticed.
Yeah,
this morning.
Yeah. Well, you know why? Because
he arrived, his music was playing, and
Oh God!
Only this morning.
No.
I'll play that one off a straight.
You know, a therapist once told me that people who arrive late are angry about something, and they want. Well, actually, are control freaks, and I think
who arrive late or early.
No, people who are potentially late for things. Now, I don't know. I mean, I'm
always early.
Always late for things. I've got to look and see what I'm. Maybe it's more about anxiety. I really think it's more about anxiety. The level of my anxiety keeps me from getting to where I'm going. Now, I'm not anxious about seeing you guys.
I'd always rather be early.
Yeah.
Are you way early?
Oh, like an hour before an event?
Yeah. No, like 20 minutes.
No,
20 minutes.
Depends on whether.
But if you were ever invited to my house, Peter, would you arrive 20 minutes early?
Yes,
that's different.
I may sit out in the driveway and not come until my appointed time.
Oh, all right. Okay.
But I'll be in the area early.
Oh,
no, I don't ever want to be late.
That's different. Okay, explain how it is.
It's different when people are expecting you at say 5 o'clock. You don't want to get there before 5 o'clock and not knocking at the door because they're probably not ready for you. However, that said, okay, maybe people like to be fashionably late, but.
Yeah.
Now I'm talking about everything else in my life. I always told my kids I'd rather be 10 minutes early than 2 minutes late.
Correct.
But if I were cooking dinner, I would be going, please, God, I need another half hour. Don't let them come in. Oh, hi, how are you? Welcome. Come on in. James, get him a drink.
You just fixed the problem.
I lie.
When they said it's time, when you say show up at 5, that doesn't mean dinner's ready at 5. It's come on in and get hammered so you don't have to worry about dinner.
Right. I agree with that.
The drinks can be made at any time.
Drink. Oh, I see. Okay, all right. Yeah, but I think that the minute someone comes in, I'd like to get them out of the kitchen and into the to the room where we're serving. I've learned now that I don't put anything that's edible on the island in the kitchen. Because if you put something on, no. Oh, he's so good. You say,
I know.
I mean, like you say people food and he doesn't eat it.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Frankie is well trained.
He's a good boy. But I find that guests are not, because if you have
in so many ways.
Yeah, no. If you have food on the island and you serve them a drink, they assume that that's where you're going to stay for the time. And people love to congregate in the kitchen. We all know that. It's a cliche. It's like, you're
it's
always...
It's not a cliche, it's a fact.
It's a fact of life.
That's because where the food is.
No. Because it's where I am getting anxious about the veal piccata or whatever the hell I'm cooking.
There's too many weird names for food.
Veal piccata.
Just like come in and sit down and eat whatever the heck
and stuff. I've never cooked it in my life. It just came out of my mouth.
The only reason all those weird names for food were invented is so you can charge more at the restaurant.
Like Chilean bass. It's like that Chilean bass stuff.
Chilean.
Chilean, excuse me. Chilean bass.
Chilean means it's like, yo, I'm chilling.
It's not even bass, is it? Yeah. Isn't it?
Who are you calling a bass?
Yeah. Isn't it? It's not even bass, and it's not from Chile. Is that right? I am thinking that Chilean bass
it's a sea bass. Isn't it sea bass?
I don't think so.
I think it comes from the sea off Chile.
It's like that Ricardo Montalban leather. What is it? That
Corinthian leather.
Corinthian leather. There's no such thing. They just made that up.
Rich Corinthian leather.
Yeah. You put the rich Corinthian leather there, and you want to touch it. You really want to move.
Now you really want to reach back. What was the car he was hawking?
Oh my gosh.
Chrysler Cordoba.
That's it. The Chrysler Cordoba.
The both of you knew that?
No, he looked
just
it up
popped into my head. No, I knew it. That one, I'm looking up Chilean sea bass.
Yeah.
That one just popped into my head.
That means the commercial was on just long enough.
It was. It was really.
It's those things. There's certain commercials. You hear the little jingle. You hear a few words from it, and you know what they're advertising. Mm-hmm. That's the sign of a good ad.
And the sign of a good song is if you know in 2 seconds whether the song is been in your past or not. I was riding by the radio.
It doesn't mean it's a good song.
No, but
it could be an annoying song.
But you've heard that song so much that you can hear. let's say dum da dum dum.
No idea.
Dum 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 bum bum bum. It's May, the lusty month of May.
No.
All right.
How about it was an itsy bitsy teeny weeny yellow polka dot bikini.
Yeah.
See, what you hear that once, you never want to hear it again. No. Yet it's stuck in your head.
It's stuck in your head, and the intro to the song is what probably is also stuck into your head. The orchestration.
Okay, ready?
That's it. Yes, Chilean bass.
Until 1977, the name Chilean sea bass didn't exist, and few people ate the fish before 1990s. Prior to that, scientists knew the fish by less mouth-watering name of Patagonian or Antarctic toothfish.
Antarctic toothfish.
Patagonian or Antarctic. And apparently, it's very, very good for you.
Okay. Well, okay. So
it's not from anywhere near Chile.
Well, it's Patagonia.
Well, yeah, it is. It's a coast off Chile going towards the Antarctic. Yes, it's off the coast of Chile.
Oh, so you can't catch one up here.
No.
They don't swim that far.
No.
So
all they got to do is follow a whale.
No.
Peter, who named it Chilean bass? Was it Martha Stewart?
I don't know that. Probably the government to market it as a food source. I would
really
think. Usually stuff like that. There's some kind of marketing behind it.
There must have been some of the Patagonian
Toothfish
Institute said we have to do some. We got to reach in. We get a name.
Discoticus eleganotus.
What
is the scientific name?
Catfish eleganotus?
No, the Chilean sea bass.
What's the name of it?
Discoticus eleganotus.
Well, the eleganotus part sounds elegant, so I like that. But that first part, what is it? Discatic. It sounds like something you've thrown up.
Discoticus.
Yeah, doesn't it? I've just had a little discoticus over there in the corner. Would you mind cleaning up?
Yeah.
Clean up in aisle 7.
Really? Oh my God! Has that ever happened to you? I've dropped. Oh gosh, I used
to work the produce department in a supermarket when I was in high school. Across from the produce department was the pickle aisle.
Oh my gosh, that's
everybody
a crime rating there.
I love pickles.
Oh yes.
Well, yeah, but whenever you work across from the pickle aisle, and somebody drops the jar of pickles.
Oh my God!
It's your job to clean it up.
That's a big one because you've got all that vinegar stuff that
and it's
flows
sticky and icky and
They live up to 50 years long and grow to almost 27.5 feet, and some of them weigh 220 pounds.
Wow,
that's a big.
They live up to 50 years long.
So we're maybe eating a 50-year-old Antarctic toothfish when we're eating Chilean sea bass.
Yeah. How old are tuna? Now, tuna are pretty big and heavy.
Tuna almost can be up to 700 pounds, I believe.
All right. So how long does it take to get to be 700-pound tuna?
I don't know.
Find out. You got the interweb there.
You have a computer in front of you, too, you know.
All right, so boys, what's the elegantest name for tuna on a menu?
Starkist?
No.
Chicken of the sea.
And they're also.
I have a. We'll talk about chicken of the sea and Starkist in a minute.
A deep water fish. Live between 148 feet down and 12,000 feet down.
You are obsessed with Chilean sea bass.
Chilean sea bass.
It got me curious, man. That's a bad thing.
Yeah.
When I get curious about something.
Okay, so would you know what they call tuna on a menu that in a restaurant? That it's another fancy name for tuna, I suppose.
Squab.
No, it begins with H and it's twice.
Really?
It's a repetitive. It sounds like you've studied.
I have no idea.
Oh, no, that's not it.
Mahi.
Mahi.
No, mahi is its own fish.
No, I think that's the word for tuna. Okay, there we go. He's going right out. We're going to find out a
fish.
Well, it's like you're your own person. I am Charlie Tuna. Speaking of that. All right, so which of those? Starkist or Chicken
Charlie
of the Sea?
Starkist was Charlie.
Yeah, Starkist or Chicken of the Sea.
The mahi or common dolphin fish is a surface-dwelling ray-finned fish found in offshore temperate, tropical, or subtropical waters. It's not tuna.
Okay, so then my waiters are lying to me when they say mahi.
It's more similar to swordfish than tuna.
Oh. So all this time when I see mahi, I don't know. Neither one of you have had that experience. A waiter saying that mahi is tuna.
Oh, I never believe the waiter, especially when he goes, the mahi is good today. That just means they got a bunch of it in the back and they're trying to push it.
Hey, I love the way waiters rate your order. Very good, sir.
Oh, wait till they go in the back room and rate you.
Yeah, no, they rate you in the back room. I know, I was a waiter. Yeah. But waiters do that. You order, no, let's see, tonight I'm going to have the special, the prime rib special, and I'll have a baked potato with it. Very good, sir. So they rate. So with a very poor choice. They never say that. Poor choice. And if they did, they'd probably be fired. Right?
I usually ask the waiter what's good tonight.
I know.
Because they know.
They know what's fresh, maybe, they know what
they know what the boss told them to push.
Oh,
not necessarily. Yeah, but they also see what's coming out of the kitchen too.
How many people am I serving this to, and how many have given it back or whatever?
Right.
That's why if you're running a restaurant, you want your folks to eat what they're serving.
Yeah.
Now
that's one of the things that when they do these 24-hour turnaround shows, when they do the new menu, they say, "All right, eat everything." Mm-hmm. It's one of the first things they do.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely right.
Because they know in
so you have a choice.
The old menu that's crap. They don't eat any of it.
I'm going to order what the waiter tells me is delicious, that they've had it a lot of times.
Exactly.
I am going to order.
Yeah, but then eventually whatever's on the menu, whether it's good or not, gets old. How long are they going to sell that Grand Slam thing? That's getting old.
What is the Grand Slam?
At Denny's?
You've never been to Denny's, have you?
Oh, it's been 4,000 years.
That's their trademark.
Yeah.
Well, that's
their breakfast.
Yeah.
Pancakes, eggs, bacon, ham, sausage.
Moon over my hammy.
And then, is there something else? Toast?
Probably.
And I mean, it's like you're eating this toast.
It's a big breakfast.
It's a smorgasbord. Well, I suppose if you're going to eat you might as well eat big in the morning. They tell you that on a trip or wherever to eat big, and then you don't eat a big lunch.
What's the place down the road that has pancakes the size of your plate?
I love that.
Down at down
American.
No, he's down towards the pig guy.
Charles's George's.
Yeah,
the home of the pig. That's
right.
I always think that's in reference to the. I always think that home of the pig is in reference to their clients.
No. On the other hand, I was definitely this past week. I had big apple pancakes. I get these. They got an apple pancake. I says, "Oh, pancakes. Oh, okay. I'll have 3 of those." She goes, "You really sure you want 3?" I go, "Why?" "Well, they're as big as your plate." Oh, well, I couldn't even finish 2.
Yeah.
So
maybe I just want 1.
There's in Manhattan, if you're ever there is the Canadian Pancake House. It's on the west or east side, I think.
How can it be Canadian if it's in New York?
Yeah, well, it's because that's what the thing is, and the pancakes overflow the plate by 4 or 5 inches.
Really?
Yeah, it's huge.
That's cool.
Huge. Hey, 6:19 in the morning, everyone. I don't know if Maureen is listening, but Maureen called in. She was the only person ever to call in and tell me she liked my music, so I've remembered her name all week long. How do you like that? So I decided I think she liked Mary Lou Williams last week, who is a old Memphis pianist, I think. Is it Memphis? No, it's Kansas City. Because we were talking about Kansas City. Now I know that Kansas City is in Missouri. No, Kansas City is in Missouri.
I know, Bob.
Don't confuse me. Yeah. So Missouri Maureen, I'll call her.
Don't do that, no, because in the back of my mind, I've got this story from a guy who told me the most boring part of his trip across the country was Missouri.
Oh.
And I asked what part. He goes, all of it.
Really?
Yeah, Missouri. It's
St. Louis is supposed to be a terrific town.
Apparently he went around it.
Oh, and Kansas City, I was with Mary Bonacci, who's from Kansas City, and we were having dinner the other night. She's, starring in that show that I'm doing.
Can we talk about this in the break?
Yeah. No, okay. Wait a minute. So Mary Lou Williams is from Kansas City, And this is Mary Lou Williams. It's actually going to be really good. I love this because in the second part of our show, you're all going to stay tuned in the second hour with Jessica from the Book Diva. But I think we're going to be talking, there's a book that has been written and the author is coming, and it's a research project of hers, and she's interviewing streetwalkers, basically, throughout the country and stuff. It's going to be, oh yeah, get the engines out. So this is called Walking and Swinging, and it's I love this. It's Mary Lou Williams and Andy Kirk and his 12 Clouds of Joy. Andy Kirk and his 12 Clouds of Joy and Mary Lou Williams, Walking and Swinging.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield. Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Comcast and Xfinity.com, offering Xfinity TV, Internet, home phone, and home security services. Information on all that Xfinity has to offer in the Westfield area is available online at Xfinity.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Wally Computer Associates, one of the largest technology providers in North America. Headquartered in Southwick, Wally provides all of the products and services that you'd expect from a world-class technology partner to schools, colleges, businesses, as well as state and local governments and agencies. Wally Computer Associates, meeting all of your technology needs. On the web at WCA.com. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
It's Tuesday morning from 6 till 8. Wow, it's Tuesday with Bob Plass.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University. This is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning. It is not April, it's May, and it is the 15th of May. A month ago, we were paying our taxes, and now we're getting
snowing.
And now we're preparing for summer. It's great. Speaking of the weather,
and the government still never mind.
Yeah. And the weather is
it's going to be thunderstorms this afternoon.
Really? It's going to be, is it?
In the early afternoon, we have an enhanced chance of severe thunderstorms this afternoon. Today is not a good day to mow your lawn unless you're doing the next couple hours.
Yeah, well, the high is going to be 60, I guess. Let's see. But today, the high is going to be 84 and humid, okay?
Yes,
and
I know.
then
That's what I
rest of the, Thursday is 80, so it bounces between, and then Saturday is 59. Friday is 61 and Thursday is 80. So we go 84, 67, 80, 61, and 59 for Saturday. And
speaking of Saturday,
showers. Yeah, speaking of Saturday, what are you doing on Saturday night?
I don't know.
It's May 19th. Yeah.
Hey, Friday, not Friday, Saturday. What?
Yes.
This weekend.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, because you're doing Canoe the Musical over at the Shortstop.
I am. It's a busy day
cool.
for a lot of folks.
Yeah, but that's okay.
Yeah, we have the Westfield 5K in the morning.
Yeah.
And that starts, it's a 10-minute race or something, right?
A 10-minute race, okay.
No.
Depends on whether you run or walk
It's the fastest race in America.
Yeah, the winners usually run 19 minutes.
19 minutes. So they start up here at the university,
right.
One of the sponsors, and we go all the way down to the finish line, which is down near Clemenza's.
To the block party, yes.
Yeah, and they have a block party there in the afternoon.
Yes.
For all of the runners. And they have runners from all over the country, I guess.
There's a lot of runners and participants.
5K. Is that a hard... Is that a hard race to run? I'm not a racer, so I don't think so, right? Because it's all downhill. Isn't it downhill from...
It's all downhill from here.
It's a pretty good decline, yeah.
Yeah. So it is a fast race because you're running downhill.
It's one of the fast incline.
Yeah.
It's called a decline.
It's a decline. If you're racing on the decline, to me, I would probably race right into the asphalt because I'd be tipping down,
It's not that much of a... It's not like you're running... It's a 20-foot drop between the start and the finish.
A 20-foot
20 foot of elevation.
Ah.
It's very,
that's
very gradual.
It's a gradual. I get it. Okay.
Yes, I'm going to throw you off the cliff, Jerry.
Isn't that interesting, though? The 20 feet from where we are to downtown Westfield, we're like high up there. 20 feet is high up. What's that, like a 8-story building or something?
It's one of those things that's deceiving.
No, 20 feet?
Yeah.
4-story building.
20 feet?
2 feet.
2 stories.
It's only a 2-story building. Oh.
2 feet?
Oh, that's right.
All right.
No, yeah.
So back to it's amazing how we can start a paragraph and start a segment talking about one thing, and we're not 2 sentences into it, and you're somewhere else.
Okay, so I've taken my Ritalin. I'm back to normal. James says, I have ADHD. I medicate by meditating, basically, and I'm pretty good at it. Yes, exactly. But I do have that tendency
one of those mattresses you buy online.
Juggle lots of thoughts.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So where were we? We were talking, so the Westfield 5K, I don't know whether you can still register for it, but you can still see the race come in.
You can go onto runwestfield.com, I believe.
Runwestfield.com to find out all about it.
Just Google Run Westfield.
Yeah. Okay. And the Tunies have worked on this for a long, long time, and I think it's about 5 years in now. Right? I think this is our 5th or 6th. So it's been a long while since we've been doing this race.
It's a good time.
Yeah. So then, there's also the Westfield State graduation. Yes, Westfield State graduation is happening.
This weekend?
Yeah, it's happening at the Springfield. What do you call that center? The Springfield something center. Is the name now? Mass Mutual Center, I guess.
The punchline is, it's not a punchline. Well, actually, there are some punchlines in it. Is The Canoe is the musical, which is actually a cabaret show.
With only 4 people. I was worried that people were thinking, oh, my God, we're going to have dancing rowboats and the oars are going to be used, to...
dancing
rowboats. Yeah. Oh, here come the cha-cha dinghies. We have boats like cars, only about canoes, and never mind. But Canoe the musical stars 4 people: myself and Mary Bonacci and Michael Rowe and James Homan. And
it's a benefit for Westfield on weekends.
You got it. So yeah, and it's taking place at the Shortstop.
In the back room, in the little.
It's the banquet hall.
The banquet hall.
Yeah. And we turn that into a cabaret,
which is really nicely done.
Yeah, and cocktail hour is beforehand. It's at 7:00, and the wonderful Monica Hanush, who is the baker and owner of the
head chef,
executive chef.
Yes.
But she really is a baker that does incredible treats.
Well, her specialty is desserts, I think.
Specialty desserts, but she can cook anything. So she's going to have some savory hors d'oeuvres and sweet treats. So you can go to dinner and then have sweet treats, or you can have hors d'oeuvres and then go to dinner, I suppose. And tickets, incidentally, are at the door, as well as at the bookstore downtown.
Blue Umbrella Books. They're available at Blue Umbrella.
Yeah, yes. And you can go online, and you can go to westfield.onweekends.com, and you can order them. That would be really great to do. The audiences like this show, and it's fun. The more we do it, the more we rehearse. We've, of course, rehearsing now. And we've done it in the past, so we don't have to rehearse like weeks on end because we know the characters, we know the songs. We've added and subtracted from this. We took out one song, we put in another, we moved a song or two, we changed some dialogue, etc., etc.
Well, the thing is, you'll recognize a lot of the tunes, however, the words seem to be a little different. In some cases.
Yeah, in some cases, but in most cases, no. But
it still works.
You're right. I think that I could probably get in trouble with Stephen Sondheim if I changed a word or two, and but I think that folks are going to love this show.
You got a phone call from your union rep, did you?
Oh my God, my union rep. Oh, that's it. Everyone in the show is in the union. Well, Michael's in a different union than I is. He's a playwright and a and a musician. We're all in the. I
didn't know he was a playwright.
Well, he's Michael Rowe is our accompanist who also plays the psychiatrist of the woman who falls in love with me. You can. All right, I put that line out there to you, and you didn't even grab for it.
I wasn't going to touch it.
All right. So it's a fantasy, everyone, and
it explains why the woman needs a psychiatrist.
Yeah. Michael was the composer of Fabulous, the off-Broadway musical, which played in New York City right off Times Square for about 6 months and a few years back, and it was doing very well. It's around the country. He's written another musical called The Birth, and he's a talented young man, and he has been with me right from the very beginning of my career. He's just a great guy and able to make me sound as good as I can, and that's saying a lot.
He's a magician.
Oh, he's a magician. Yeah, my singing teacher would be very proud of what Michael does with me. Although Mary Bonacci is a singing teacher as well, but she also sings jazz. She sings blues. She sings Broadway. She sings opera incredibly.
Yeah, there is a lot of talent on
that stage. And people don't know this, but my spouse did 3 Broadway shows. Yeah, James Oman did 3 Broadway shows. He did Carol Channing's Hello, Dolly, the Little Johnny Jones with both David Cassidy and Donny Osmond, and he did an import from Goodspeed Opera House that closed because of a strike. It got great reviews. It's called The 5 O'Clock Girl, And so those are the three he did, but he was also a Radio City rocker. That's the Men That Dance with the Rockettes. Has appeared with Ginger Rogers, all kinds of people. So you got to come and see this. I said to somebody, this is my swan song to theater. I think I'm too anxious to really do this. I love performing, but whether people are going to come or
that's what happens when you're the producer of the show as well as starring in the show.
I just want to come in, sing my songs, and leave.
Go home. Yes.
Yeah. That's it.
No, sing your songs and go to the pub and have an after show drink.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of performing, I have been watching American Idol. We've got one more week of American Idol. I know you guys are watching The Voice. We've got, what's the woman's name? Bryn Cartelli. She's still on The Voice?
She's going to find out, I think, if she makes the Final Four.
So she's at least the Final Five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a good guy named Peter Thompson is her vocal coach.
Peter Thompson. Jeez, I know that name.
For years, he was the...
Long Meadow High School?
Yeah, Long Meadow High School choral teacher. He's also on the board of directors of the Symphony, Springfield Symphony.
And probably with the music school downtown Springfield.
He has his own, I think. No,
he does?
His own, yeah.
Peter Thompson. I remember the name. So I've been watching the shorter version of American Idol. I really like this version. There are 5 incredible singers left. Are there 5? Yeah, there are 5, and they're going to get rid of the final 3
so they have the
next
finale.
week till they have the finale. Yeah. No, I think they've got 3 left. They've only got 3 left, and this is my favorite of all the 3s. This is a woman who plays the piano and the guitar, is lovely to look at, has great stage presence, is young, just like Bryn Cartelli. Her name is Maddie Popey, and she is just great. I like this girl a lot. So I'm going to play her version of Homeward Bound by Simon and Garfunkel. Here we go.
Got a ticket for my destination. On a tour of one-night stands, my suitcase and guitar in hand, and every stop is neatly planned for a poet and a one-man band. Homeward bound, I wish homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping, home, where my music's playing, home, where my love lies waiting silently for every day's an endless stream of cigarettes and magazines. Each town looks the same to me, the movies and the factories, and every stranger's face I see reminds me that I long to be homeward bound. I wish I was homeward bound. Home, where my thoughts escaping, home, where my music's playing, home, where my love lies waiting silently for homeward bound.
WSKB's programming is generously underwritten by Whip City Fiber, Westfield Gas and Electric, where they offer gigabit internet speed. Whip City Fiber, turning Westfield's neighborhoods into fiberhoods. On the web at whipcityfiber.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Discussions of local politics, events, happenings, and miscellany potpourri. Ken's Den, Tuesday, 8 to 10.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Wow, it's Westfield on Weekend Show. It's Tuesday, and it is May 15th, and it is 2019. Yep. That's
18.
Next year. 18. All right.
If we're in May 2019, Harry Rock would be walking, pacing the hallway going, it's only 4 days till the parade, it's only 4 days till the parade, it's only 4 days till the parade.
Oh, that's right. A year from now is the 350th anniversary.
May 19th, yeah.
May 19th, yeah.
So, put that date in your calendar. The weekend of May 17th through the 19th is Westfield, Massachusetts' 350th birthday.
Wow, wow, wow. And this Saturday, hey, let's tell people that Wow Show, the cabaret, the fundraiser, is a fundraiser for Westfield on weekends. It's at the Shortstop, right? Shortstop Restaurant on Route 20.
Yeah.
Showtime is 8 o'clock. Cocktail hour is at 7 with hors d'oeuvres.
My favorite time.
Yes, and you can get tickets at
Jay, you're working
door.
this event. You won't be able to partake in the cocktails.
I didn't say it's because I'm partaking. I'd like to watch.
Oh,
Yeah, sure.
At the door, you can get tickets. You can get tickets at Blue Umbrella Books right down on the green. Mm-hmm. If you're a member of the Senior Center and you have a Senior Center membership
My
card,
Senior Center card.
Yeah, you go in there and you can get a little discount we've given to the Senior Center members because Tina Gorman and her crew are just so wonderful.
Yeah,
and
thanks to Tina
and the
for
seniors are
everything
important.
that they do down there.
Yeah.
And they just go up to the desk on Noble Street there? And
they'll take care of them.
All right, cool.
Yeah. So at any rate, hey, what did you do for your mothers this weekend? Did your mom still alive, Jay?
Yes.
Oh. So what did you do for your mom?
I called her.
Ah.
Aren't you going to ask what I called her?
Oh, good Lord.
So she picks up the phone. She goes, "Your mother here." She doesn't know who the hell is calling. She just, "Your mother here."
But she knows.
Oh, she's waiting by the phone.
Yeah, she
got a checklist of who called and who didn't call.
And yes, she does. And she goes, "You were the second that called. You weren't first."
Is that right?
Yes. So I was already on her you know what list because I wasn't the first that called, yet I was the firstborn.
Oh, isn't that nice? Yeah. And your mom?
I went to go visit my grandmother's.
Okay, is your mom alive?
My mom is alive, but my grandmothers are not.
So you went to visit them at the cemetery?
Yes, I did. Both of them.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
And then my mom, myself, and my brother went to the Pope Francis Players who did Into the Woods, which is not an easy show.
Stephen Sondheim is very, very difficult.
And they did a very good... I think they did a very good job. For a high school cast, they did a very good job with it.
Yeah. There are some songs in there
that are... It's a long show, too.
It's a long show. It was actually a short show because it was and Into the Woods was written as a one-act play. It was a retelling
4-hour one-act play. I mean, the first half was 90 minutes.
Yeah, well, let me tell you why. Because Stephen Sondheim wrote that first half as just the standalone musical, and it tells what fairy tales are, a retelling of the fairy tale.
Yes, I know.
The second half is what happens after the
when
fairy tale.
When it unravels.
When it unravels after the fairy tale ends.
Which is the fun part.
That's the second part.
Where's Fractured Fairy Tale thing?
And they did a very, very good job with it for a high school.
So you took your mom to see your son in Into the Woods.
Yes, he had actually a more of a major part. He played the estranged father that lives in the woods. That would be the guy that comes out and kind of says, always asking questions.
Mystery man. Yeah. The mysterious man.
Right, he was supposed to play that part, but he had a baseball game on Friday and he couldn't make the Friday show, so they demoted him down to one of the birds that attacks, along with the rest, like half of the baseball team.
The mysterious man.
But listen, but I didn't realize this. He didn't tell us all this, but he's been in 7 shows over 3 years,
and he didn't tell you one.
Well, I've known the last 2 years, but the first year he didn't even say anything. He just did it.
Well, you know, in high school, if you're in the show, you're going to get all kinds of kids yelling at you. You know how that
he didn't
is.
Tell us.
No, the kids in
actually
make fun of people who are in the theater.
He was smart. He recruited some of his baseball team to be bit players with him. And some of those guys have now done 2 years and 4 shows. Mm-hmm. But they recognize each senior at the end and how many shows they did.
It's
and things
Glee
like that.
Revisited over there at St. Pope Francis. Yes. Hey, guess
wow,
who's
like
here?
how we dismissed that one? Bam, like that.
Yeah. Hey, could you hear a beautiful feminine voice right there? That was the book diva of all time, Jessica Martin from Blue Umbrella Books. Jessica.
Have you noticed,
morning.
Have you
Good
noticed how
morning.
you're getting promoted? 8 each month you get.
I enjoy that. That's what keeps me coming back. I think Bob knows that. You know, I get a better title with each show I get under my belt.
Yeah. Hey, what?
On the other hand, I get a little lower and lower every week.
See, there's a fine line. It's like too much time together, just enough time together,
Yes,
too much time apart. I'm trying to find that sweet spot with Bob, and it's just.
Once a month is not enough.
Bob might be
blushing.
blushing.
I'm going to come and
there.
see you on Saturday. So
I know it's good. I love this. Thank you for doing that.
Of course, I'm excited.
Okay, so and I'll meet Sean for the first time.
Yes, Sean's very excited to meet you.
And so James is excited to meet Sean.
Yes.
So we'll have a good time. Hey, did you do anything special for Mother's Day?
Actually, I did. So my mother is very special to me, and she lives in a full-time care facility, a nursing home. That's a fancy word for nursing home. And her birthday is May 4th, so she always gets to celebrate her birthday and then Mother's Day the following week. So for her birthday, I got a new tattoo with her name on it.
No, you're kidding me.
Yeah, and it was we had dinner with her on Mother's Day, and I did on her birthday we had dinner with her, and then I went and got the tattoo after we had seen her. So then I waited until Mother's Day to do the great reveal, and she was very delighted.
Is it a place that you could reveal?
Do you want to see it?
I can't wait. She's pulling up
right here.
Oh,
it's
my
you got an ankle, right?
Yeah,
look at that, Inez.
Right, so it's also a beautiful and unique name. So it's
it
like, how
is
do you not?
beautiful, and it's right above the arch of your foot.
My foot, right at the beginning of my leg.
The beginning of your leg. I love that. What does a mother say when she sees her name tattooed on her
first
baby's?
She shakes her head and says, "What the heck are you doing? You don't need any more tattoos." But then I say, "Well, what the difference does one more make? Isn't it nice?" And she did. She really was touched by it and made her
Inez short
smiling.
for something?
It's not. No,
it's a nice name.
Yeah, she has a fun story to go along with it. She's named after a woman who was of Cherokee Indian descent.
Really?
So my grandmother was an unwed mother in the 40s, and so her family shipped her off from Northampton. They're from Northampton, Massachusetts, to go live with a family friend who was this woman in Oklahoma City, and her name was Inez. So
clearly Northampton was not as liberal then as
not
it is
right,
now.
or at least my grandmother's parents were not. They were like,
okay.
"Oh, we're gonna ship you off till you have that baby."
Yeah.
And she did. She named my mother after the woman who took her in for her pregnancy.
Cool.
Wow.
So that's where it comes from.
Amazing. Yeah. And did your mother find out about that? I mean, early on, or how did that work?
She kind of seemed to always know that was the case.
Yeah.
My grandmother did end up marrying, and my mother has 3 siblings, and they all grew up together, and the man that raised her she would refer to as her father. So
of course.
She seemed to always be aware of it. I feel like I've always been aware of it, so it wasn't a family secret or anything.
Yeah. Well, Inez now has a tattoo.
Right. So that's I think a pretty fancy Mother's Day.
Thank God her name wasn't Susanna. You wouldn't have had enough room.
Exactly. I did get lucky. I was like, it's just 4 letters. I can fit them somewhere.
You can fit them in somewhere. Isn't that great? It's men always. There's that old cliche about putting mom on your
with a heart. Yes.
Yeah, on your arm. Or your girlfriend's name. I guess you know. Do you have your husband's name tattooed somewhere on your
I do
body?
not, but I have one other great quick story about men getting the mom tattoo. A friend of ours got a mom tattoo, very traditional Sailor Jerry style, on his chest on Mother's Day.
Jerry.
And his mom was with him, and Sean let his mom color in some of the heart, so his mom tattooed him on Mother's Day. at the tattoo shop.
This year?
Just, I have pictures. I'll show you. Yeah, it was really funny. He got the mom heart, very traditional tattoo, just like you described. And his mom got right in there and just colored some of the heart in for him.
Had she ever done tattooing before?
I was so impressed because even as long as I've been around tattooing and have worked in the business, I would have been more nervous than her to just pick up a tattoo machine and go at someone with it.
Right above the heart region, too. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Now, that is true love.
Crazy.
My gosh. Oh, my God. All righty. So today, I think we're going to have a guest coming in later. Am I right?
We are. Very exciting. Yes, we have an author coming.
Yeah. Blair Hopkins is coming in, about 7:15 or so?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Blair Hopkins wrote a great book. Actually, I read a lot of it this weekend called All in a Day's, in parentheses, Sex Work. And this is a discussion that we've never had on our show.
I know. It seems like it's a
little
bit early, right?
Yeah, it's a little early.
Full of myths.
Yeah. And
what people's perceptions are.
Yeah. So
and what the reality is.
That's exactly right. And so she has gone all over the country, all over the world, actually, talking to sex workers. And so, folks, we're going to have an adult conversation, so this is not for the kids, I suppose. But it's going to be a decent conversation because it is a humanistic research project. In other words, this is not a lurid book at all. It's a book about the people who do this kind of work, and
it's about the nitty gritty is what it's about. I read like a couple of pages about the nitty gritty.
Well, yeah, but it talks about the why and the wherefore and the how.
The nitty-gritty stuff.
And whatever
stuff that never gets talked about because it's projecting a fantasy.
Well, yes, yeah. So we'll see with Blair Hopkins. She's going to be on. So I decided I'd play a Broadway song that was about courtesans. Now, courtesans, it sounds like in the French court, incidentally, and in many courts in Europe, courtesans were actually the women who were there for the king, the harem, sort of. And usually there was one courtesan who was, if you watched all those English Tudor movies, or French, if you watch Versailles on Netflix, you'd know about this. There was a courtesan who was the mistress of the king. And she was well taken care of. Pompadour, Madame Pompadour, was one of the most famous of them all.
Yep.
So at any rate, Rodgers and Hart write this song, Sing for Your Supper, and you'll get breakfast, songbirds often, etc., etc. Lawrence Hart wrote lyrics that can be taken in a lot of different ways, and this was a huge hit in the 1940s. This is redone by 3 Broadway show tune artists. I think Rebecca Luker is one, Debbie Shapiro Grevitt, and Christine Ebersol, and it is from the Broadway musical by Rodgers and Hart called The Boys from Syracuse. Sing for Your Supper.
And crows do lots of things, but the canary only sings. She's a courtesan on wings, so I've heard. Eagles and storks are twice as strong. All the canary knows is song, but the canary gets along. Gilded bird, sing for your supper and you'll get breakfast. Songbirds always eat. Their song is sweet to hear. Sing for your luncheon and you'll get dinner. Dine with wine of choice if romance is in your voice. I heard from a wise canary, trilling makes a fellow willing. So little swallow, swallow now. Now is the time to sing for your supper and you'll get breakfast. Songbirds are not dumb. They don't buy a crumb of bread. It's said, so sing and you'll be fed. Sing for your supper and you'll get breakfast. Songbirds always eat if their song is sweet to hear. And you'll get dinner, dine with wine of choice if romance But if you dance, dancing at your feet.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Plasek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Discussions of local politics, events, happenings, and miscellany potpourri. That's what you'll find on Ken's Den, Tuesdays from 8 till 10.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning. It is May 15th. There's an echo in here, 2019 and counting.
Wow.
Yeah. It's a chorus. It's the hallelujah. It's Tuesday chorus. Right. There's the soprano. Yeah, whoops is gone. We're not, no, today it's
Tuesday.
Wow, it's Tuesday, and I'm here. I'm alive, and I'm here and happy because Jessica Martin is
the rest of the world
from Bloom Umbrella Books. Hey, you got any realty tips for us today? You're also a realtor, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah, you do everything.
There's a lot of houses. Is it me because I just happen to be looking, but I just see a lot of houses and land for sale. Is the market that full right now?
No. So it's good that you're noticing, but you're right. You're noticing because you're interested.
Because I'm looking.
So you're looking. So you're saying, oh, there's more than I thought, or more than I noticed before I was actively.
It's like if I buy a new
looking.
Jeep, all of a sudden
there's Jeeps
a
everywhere,
lot of Jeeps on
and
the
you're all
road.
waving to each other when you pass. Yeah.
Exactly.
So yes, I think that's what's happening with you because Western Massachusetts, especially Westfield right now, is just very, very low on the inventory.
Yeah, no inventory.
So I have a client in Springfield who works for the city, so she has to live in the city, and she has been trying to buy a house. We've written 6 offers and lost each one in a multiple offer situation, and it's not because she's coming in low. It's because someone's coming in higher than her every time. So it's
Pioneer Valley is an
frustrating.
attractive place to live right now.
Yeah. So it's
And is it because there's not houses built?
yes.
No, they're building houses.
They are
There's
building new construction.
People are scooping them up as soon as they come on the market.
Yes, there's more people looking to purchase the houses than there are houses available, and people are choosing to stay in their homes rather than sell them too for longer. So
Sure, and maybe not.
And I'm not only hearing this from Jessica. I'm hearing this from a lot of realtors in the area.
Yeah. All right. So I wonder the baby boom population is getting up there. Okay.
Yep.
We
Wait a minute. What do you mean?
I'm talking about. I'm getting up there.
That's the 7 o'clock hour, Bob.
Yeah. James and I have always had that discussion about, well, do we stay in our house as senior citizens or do we move on? So I would think that because there are so many senior citizens in America because of the baby boomers, et cetera, that market is going to open up because folks are going to be either moving in with their relatives or moving to downsizing,
moving
etc.
to warmer climates. Yes, all of those things should be happening, but for some reason in this area, people are staying in their homes, and we've got more people who want to buy, but there's just not houses available.
Where do you find a good? Is the newspaper still the best place to find
The
a
what?
good house?
The what?
The new,
I've never,
the news,
I've never
you've
seen
never
a
seen
newspaper.
it.
I will say no, and I am a fan of print media.
good,
I do
of
like it, but the newspaper, because of the timeliness in which it comes out, everyone is on their cell phone with their app, and as soon as a new listing is listed, it will ping your phone. Yeah. So in cases like we're facing now, I was on my way in here and one of my clients was hitting me up, hey, this house just listed, it's 8 a.m, can we go see it? And
I'm like, the MLS website is pretty good now.
Yeah, and I'm like, we can't go see it at 8 a.m, someone lives there, like we can't, cases, so I have to give them some notice and let them know we want to come see it. But that's how crazy it is. Like, they're getting a ping on their phone, they're hitting me up and saying, I just saw this house get listed. Let's please go see it right now.
We've become a very impatient people.
Yes.
Yeah.
And by the time that house is in the newspaper, it's already going to be under contract.
Yeah. Have you ever had anyone?
Houses are selling within 2 or 3 days and way over the asking.
I was just going to say, do people come to you with money in hand saying, I'm going to give them the money, I'm going to give them a down payment right here in hand if we like this house? I mean, like they prepare that much.
Bob, that's like bad business.
Yeah, you can't.
No, I know.
You can't actually have like a cash transaction where you're like, yeah, you can't just walk in. I've had people say that, which I love, which is like, tell them I have $5,000 on me right now, and I'm like, that's you can't really do that. We have to still write an offer and compete.
So the guy that comes to me and goes, hey, I got an envelope.
But
no,
if you
don't do that.
If you have money,
yes,
you are in a better position to win in these multiple offer situations, because if you're someone who has no down payment, because you can still get a loan right now with a low interest rate and no down payment. There's programs out there, which is another reason there are so many buyers. There's a lot of really great programs, but you're in a stronger position as a buyer if you're a good saver and you have a down payment and you can pay for your own closing costs. You don't have to ask the seller to help you with that. So that strengthens your offer, which makes it more likely that you will win when 5 people are bidding. If you have a 20% down payment and a conventional loan, it's more likely that your loan's going to close or have fewer problems than someone who's doing an FHA loan with more hoops to jump through and the government's involvement and all those things.
It's sort of a crapshoot in a way that you're saying, okay, how much money are we going to offer? Are we going to offer 20%? Why don't we offer, if I have 40%, I'm going to offer 40%.
You could
or is that a smart thing to do, or is it
it's situational? It depends on how much of your own money you want to tie up. If that's all the money you have, maybe you want to keep some in reserves, but 20% is a good amount for down payment, because that's a good amount to get your conventional loan and not have to pay the private mortgage insurance and all the stuff that comes along with less than 20% down. So, I mean, it would be a case-by-case basis in that case.
Wow. Okay.
Those are all because it's different for everybody. That's
every
one of the reasons it's a good idea to have a realtor. They've been through it.
The other thing is with the overbidding on the houses, like now you're going to bid $10,000 over the asking price because everyone's in this race to get this one house. And then you also have to hope that the house is going to appraise for the price that you've bid on it, because the bank will then squash the deal. So you can't go too high, you can't go too low. There's a lot of factors.
And in that financial discussion, how much we're going to bid and whatever, you have to really be up on rates and things. I mean, the realtor
has to show them the reality of the situation.
We do a lot of running of comps and what's sold in the neighborhood, and what other properties.
Sale by owner.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
That's a scary situation.
It is. Well, I mean, people want to save money. They don't want to pay the fee for the realtor. But I even have a chart now just to kind of show people everything that we do, because it's really a lot with all the paperwork and things, and you're doing yourself a disservice by thinking that you should take all of that on. I mean, an attorney can help, but it's a lot of paperwork and there's a lot of negotiating, and sometimes when you're dealing directly, sometimes just having the buffer person makes things go more smoothly than when you're dealing directly with buyers and sellers. So
it's sort of like
take the emotion out of it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
And especially, how about renting or buying from friends of yours?
That's an interesting.
I mean, like, okay, they're selling their house. I love their house. I've always loved their house.
Yep.
But I don't know what that house is like, really. I go and visit. And
that's why you have appraisers.
In that situation, I think you hire an appraiser, because you can do something like that without an agent, because there's less paperwork, there's less showing, and probably less negotiating, because if you're friends. But except
you're going to, James and I are going to say, our friend Marie is, she's had a rough life. Let's give her this much or whatever.
Yeah.
or I'm saying, no, we're not. We're going to. The old Krabby here is going to say, no. We're going to pay what the going market is and stuff. And for me to say that to a friend of mine, or to try to get the lowest price, is not such a good idea to have that discussion with a friend.
It's like buying a used car from a friend.
Also true.
Or to turn them down.
I learned a long time ago. It's don't buy a used car from a friend. Don't sell your car to a friend.
Yeah.
So I ain't gonna buy a used house from a friend either.
Oh, my
on the
God.
other hand, if I've got a friend who builds houses, I'd have him build a house again in a heartbeat for me, because we had such a good experience.
Sure.
Because I've heard horror stories about people building houses and getting nickeled and dimed to death. That's another whole.
I don't know how people build houses. I think it's very impressive every time. I have client friends who are in the middle of building, and they've been married, 25 years or so. And I'm like, this is the final challenge of your marriage. Like, you've raised your kids, and now you're going to do this house thing.
And never mind the financial part of it, because if it's going to cost, decisions after decisions after, and they gotta. I need to know tonight. You take whatever the cost is. Take 20% of that and put it in the bank, because you're going to need it down the road. Because what do you mean? What do you mean it doesn't come with curtains?
What do you mean it doesn't come with curtains?
Right.
I thought that this room. I've been in this room. With friends. I've been in this room forever, and it's so beautiful, and it looks. And then you living in the house, and you see finally that it had no bearing whatsoever. And so at any rate, hey, I want to play a song by Charlie Puth. Do you know Charlie Puth at all?
Not in person.
Yeah,
No.
I never knew this guy until yesterday. Charlie Puth, Puth, okay, is an up and coming, and I think he's already there, a big star. And his new album has a great song on it. I actually heard this guy. This guy has a voice like this, Peter. It's a radio voice. He talks like this. And wait till you hear, he's got a voice, a falsetto that is higher than yours, Jessica. And you'll hear his falsetto in his new song, "Done for Me." I thought that was kind of appropriate as we get ready to talk to our author. I'll talk to you soon.
What you thinking? You think that you could be better off with somebody new? No, oh, baby, no. You say you're leaving. Well, if you wanna leave, there ain't nobody stopping you. No, oh, baby, no. I won't beg for your love, won't say please. I won't fall to the ground on my knees. You know I've given this everything, baby, honestly. Baby, honestly, I lie for you, baby. Die for you, baby. Cry for you, baby. But tell me what you've done for me. For you, baby. And only you, baby. The things I do, baby. But tell me what you've done for me.
I never cheated. Deleted everyone, 'cause they made you uncomfortable.
I've given this everything, baby, honestly. Tell me what you've done for my life, for you, baby. Done for you, baby. Cry for you, baby. But tell me what you've done for me, for you, baby. Only you, baby. This I do, baby. But tell me what you've done for me. Tell me what you've done for me. Tell me what you've done for me. Tell me what you've done for me.
WSKB's programming is generously underwritten by Whip City Fiber, Westfield Gas and Electric, where they offer gigabit internet speed. Whip City Fiber, turning Westfield's neighborhoods into fiber hoods. On the web at whipcityfiber.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.
Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Hi, everyone. Wow.
I forgot the name of his show. Hi, there it is.
Yeah.
Oops, it's Tuesday.
Wow, it's Tuesday. It is May 15th, 2019. And we are here with Book Diva and also the great. Hey, we were talking about realty before. If anyone wanted to get in touch with you, how do they do that, Jessica Martin?
They can visit my website, which is jessicamartinrealty.com, and it's got all of my social media, phone number, text, call, email, whatever you like. Hit me up.
There you go. Does it have your new tattoo on there?
Well, my new tattoo is on my social media, so there is a link there. Yes. Yep.
If you were in the first hour, Jessica just got her mother's name tattooed to her ankle or just above her foot, which is so lovely.
Thank
Lovely. Hey, everybody, I want you to meet Blair Hopkins. Blair Hopkins is the author of an incredibly interesting book. Actually, it's a book of photographs, but more than that, it's a book of research that you've done, Blair. You're Blair Hopkins. The name of the book, let me tell you this, is called All in a Day's Sex Work. And sex is in parentheses. Blair Hopkins wrote the book. Now, our conversation, as you know, is going to be a little adult this morning, but mature and respectful of the profession as well. How in the world does a young girl you are from Washington, the state of Washington, how do you get involved writing a book called All in a Day's Sex Work? How does that happen?
You know, at the end of the day, always blame your mother.
Great answer.
That was one of the topics in the book.
Yeah.
Right. I have been shooting professionally for about 10 years. And when I first got started...
As a
photographer, yes.
Yeah.
And when I first got started, it was primarily for burlesque company, like burlesque production companies and this kind of thing, doing... and also, by virtue of that, there's a lot of crossover between the burlesque community and the sex work community. There's a lot of the gals and guys there that do other forms of adult work, exotic dancing, dominatrix work, escorting, this kind of thing. So through doing that, I just happened to know a lot of sex workers. Also, at the time, I was working in an adult toy shop.
Wow.
That's just who hired me. I was looking for a retail gig. I was like 18, 19.
Yeah, sure.
And
your mother knew about that?
I can't surprise her anymore, really.
Yeah.
Bless her heart. She's
Sure.
But she's like, "Oh, you're paying your bills. Good, okay."
Yeah.
So I don't have to do that anymore. So when we were right up the street from a popular strip club near Ballard in Seattle, Washington, and so knew a lot of the girls that way, and it was kind of a natural progression. You get to know people when you do any kind of creative work. You tend to like doing it enough that's just what you do all the time. So when I'm hanging out with friends, my favorite thing at the time, was let's go shoot something together. Let's put together a photo shoot. And suddenly you have a large body of work that involves the people who are around you all the time. And for me, that was largely sex workers.
And so you kind of put the two of your photography together with this research project.
Mm-hmm.
And you set out to do what? What's the intention of this book? Every author has to have, I'm going to write a book about because.
Well, really, I just wanted to initially be able to justify my propensity for gallivanting around the country, talking to people and taking photos of things.
So you want to see places and talk to people.
Right.
There you go.
However, it wasn't until I moved to New York that I met Mistress Lee, who is interviewed in the book.
Right.
And she, at the time, was my supervisor at my first menial, terrible job in New York City. At a coffee company that I should not have left Seattle to work for. I could have just as easily worked for it there. I won't say who. But
a multinational corporation.
Yeah,
right.
So
incredibly degrading, terrible job.
Sure.
And she left that job to become a dominatrix. And because we had gotten close, she came out to me as a sex worker, and I told her about this kind of nebulous idea I had for a long-term photo project involving sex workers, and she kind of breathed a lot of life into it and gave it some more form. She brought me to the dungeon she was working at and gave me a tour and introduced me to some of the women, and it was really nice. And we went into the supply room, and this is where I found the angle. I had that aha moment.
Sure.
We go into the supply room, and I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of shadow boarding.
No, I don't know it.
Okay, so
no.
in
all I know is that waterboarding, so I immediately go to
also torture. Relevant.
It could also be performed in the same dungeon.
Absolutely, they have a spot for that. So shadow boarding is a manufacturing term, actually, and it's part of what they call lean manufacturing. It's efficiency methodology, and what they'll do is take a tool board or a mechanic's chest or whatever, and put foam down in it and cut out the shape of every tool so that there's a place for everything.
We have that for equipment, electronic
Absolutely.
equipment,
And it was something that lean was something I studied pretty extensively when I was doing photography for aerospace manufacturing in the South Seattle area. So I walk into this supply room in this dungeon, and I have no idea what to expect. And I see a big mechanic's chest, and she opens it, and it's shadow boarded. But instead of, wrenches and sockets and other things, it's
right. It's all these
plugs and dildos.
The tools of the trade.
Yeah. And I thought,
that's the first time. Are we allowed to say that word?
I don't think they're on the list.
I didn't see them.
Yeah. Well, we'll just.
You should almost certainly make sure I see a list before you put it on there.
Yes. Yeah. So this is the tools of the trade.
Correct.
Of the dominatrix.
And on the wall, adjacent that was
like a pegboard.
There's a pegboard
with hangers.
Yeah.
Well, come on.
Pete's sounding a little too familiar with the layout of the dungeon, I think.
No, what? You know what? Utility is utility.
Right. He's, he has a vivid imagination. So.
Yes. Yeah.
But they were all labeled and outlined with which whip should go where and all of this. And I cracked up. I thought, all of the, old mechanics on the shop floor that I used to work with more than likely would not think professional commercial dungeon in New York City and equate that with the same methodology for organization that they use. And so that's when I decided the angle needed to be showcasing the ways, at least in the photos, in which sex work parallels regular work, quote unquote regular work.
I see. Preparing for it, cleaning up after yourself,
right?
Or
putting away your tools.
Right. Clean as you go.
Seriously, putting away your tools.
Just nailed it. When you said utility is utility. That's very real.
That's right. So that was your intent for the photos. Now, in terms of the questions that you were asking your subjects throughout the country, throughout the world, you asked the same 5 questions. Am I right?
Correct.
And that was a method that you've chosen in order to come up with a panoply, I guess, a panoply of an assortment of stories. Mm-hmm. And the stories are always the important thing here, right? Mm-hmm. That's what you're looking for.
Yes.
It's a good entrance, right?
Right. Well, I wanted it to be... I wanted the outline for the interviews to be bare bones and but in such a way that it could guide, like you said, and facilitate storytelling. But more than that, I really wanted to stay away from, why do you do this? What does your father think? Any of these kind of,
boring,
voyeuristic questions,
boring.
Right? Yeah.
Oh, well,
done and done and done and done.
Oh, I don't. Well, it's also.
That's a stereotype.
Right.
Okay.
It's not the reality.
Well, let's talk.
What's the reality?
Yeah.
Exactly. He knows. For me, it was more like, what do you like about your job? What do you not like about your job? And leading people into talking about their experiences with what they do for a living.
I see. And so, in other words, to be able to look at the sex worker as an employee and an employee, mm-hmm. and that there's a job to be done, it serves a purpose, right. And therefore the myth of prostitution or there are certain myths attached to this whole thing.
Sure. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a mythos around, like, we have culturally kind of two primary narratives around what sex work is, mm-hmm. and it's like the trafficked victim, the helpless junkie, turning tricks in the street and all this, and that's right. Like desperately in need of rescue. And then there's kind of this hyper glamorized, call girl.
50 Shades of Grey.
Right. And neither of those are really true, right? They certainly aren't true to the majority of people's experiences. Most people in any profession are pretty boring.
They come to work.
Explain what that.
They do their job and they go home.
Right.
No.
Right. Most people do their jobs and then they go home.
Yeah.
And what makes them interesting is how they feel about their work, the approach that they bring to their particular trade, how they integrate their personality and their creativity into what they do for a living. Like the places where people's personalities shine through in what they do is what makes them and what they do interesting.
Interesting. Okay. So here we are in staid New England. Here we are in a city or a town or an area where there is, the minute you say the word dominatrix or even sex work, people are doing two things. Their ears are perking up. They're really interested. And they're also go, oh no, I can't talk about that, or I want to listen, but I'm afraid to listen. And do you know where I'm going here with this?
We're still so Puritan,
which is why this is perfect for radio, because they can listen in the car and no one around them knows.
The United States in general is kind of stuck up.
Well.
The United States has, and I can really only speak authoritatively on our culture, right? Because it's the culture that I am most familiar with.
Sure,
and even
sure.
that, across, we are a pretty diverse country, and geographically, culturally, whatever, it varies. So I'm not as familiar with New England. I definitely know the jaded, affectless kind of viewpoint of New Yorkers on the whole issue, but that's a different story.
Yes, right.
I feel as though the United States has a very kind of adolescent approach to dealing with sexuality.
That's a great word for that.
Yep.
I agree. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they're just desperate for it. They're desperate. They're obsessed, but they're also very ashamed and confused by it.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. That the adolescent. That's you described an adolescent. You're ashamed. You're confused, and as an adolescent about this perfectly natural kind of thing.
Right. It's on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like we have to have the sex is important. Yes. Intimacy is important. All these things.
Yeah, and sex and intimacy go together. And I suppose people equate prostitution, that there's no intimacy in prostitution.
Right.
And that's when you sort of go, oh, and then morality rears its ugly head.
Sure.
and you've got a fire that's and I'm wondering what our listeners are thinking about as we speak. I'm going to play Delta Dawn by Tanya Tucker, which I think is a perfect example of we are so drawn to the number of songs about this kind of thing. It's incredible. The number of great books and operas, La Traviata, all about the sex worker, and the oldest profession in America is there, and it was there for a reason. You would say it's there for a reason, Blair?
I would say that it is certainly there for a reason. I mean, it's human nature. Look what happens when you try to stamp it out.
There we go. Okay, so let's hear Tanya Tucker's old song, Delta Dawn.
Delta Dawn, what's that flower you have on? Could it be a faded rose from days gone by? And did I hear you say he was meeting you here today? To take you to his mansion in the sky. She's 41 and her daddy still calls her baby. All the folks around Brownsville say she's crazy, 'cause she walks downtown with a suitcase in her hand, looking for a mysterious dark-haired man. In her younger days, they called her Delta Dawn, prettiest one you ever laid eyes on. Then a man of loaded piece stood by her side, promised her he'd take her for his bride. To his mansion in the sky. Delta Dawn, what's that flower you have on? Could it be a faded rose from days gone by? And did I hear you say he was meeting you here today? To take you to his mansion in the sky.
Support for community radio on WSKB is provided by Betts Plumbing and Heating Supply Company, an independent, family-owned wholesaler serving Westfield for over 50 years, specializing in plumbing, heating, and industrial piping supplies. On the web at bettsplumbing.com or at 14 Coleman Avenue in Westfield.
Underwriting for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield, serving the youth of the Whip City and surrounding communities since 1969. For more information on the Great Futures Club for ages 3 to 5, happening weekdays, and the Club Teen Center for ages 11 and older, weekdays from 6:30 till 8 p.m., go online at bcgwestfield.org or visit the club at 28 West Silver Street. The Boys and Girls Club of Greater Westfield. Great futures start here.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Dunkin' Donut Shops of Westfield and the Sardinia family. It's nice to know that even as the world changes, Dunkin' Coffee remains the same at 7 convenient locations throughout Westfield.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646. Friday mornings is something different on 89.5 FM. It's JP's Talk About Town.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM, WSKB, Westfield.
Wow, it is Tuesday morning, and it is May 15th, 2019.
Bob into shape.
2018. I keep wanting to say 2019.
Somebody has to keep Bob in line. That's my job.
There we are. We are talking to Blair Hopkins, and we are here with the book diva from Blue Umbrella Books, Jessica Martin, blueumbrellabooks.com. Is that what it is?
That sounds right.
Yes, blueumbrellabooks.com.
Today.
It's right down on the green. And actually, you're going to be at the Blue Umbrella Books shop this afternoon or tonight. Both. Tell us.
We're going to have Blair most of the day. It looks like she'll be at the shop at noon, and then official event from 5 to 7 tonight.
So if you want to come in and you want to see the book, you want to buy a book, and you want to meet the author, and you have questions about this fascinating topic, and in the book you mentioned, and I think it said in your final words, something about that this is one of America's final cultural, all of the world's maybe, final cultural taboos.
Correct.
You want to, and the idea of rather than the fight over decriminalization over legislation. Mm-hmm. Are we going to decriminalize? Are we going to legalize? And in all of your work with the subjects throughout the country, both male and female, incidentally,
and everything in between.
Yeah, and sure, yeah, the transgender community as well. Have you found that sex workers would like to be legalized, or is there discussion on that, or is it like if you legalize it, then it becomes a real business?
Mm-hmm. I think it is a real business now, Bob.
It is currently a real business.
No, but a business that is taxed and et cetera. It's a hard question.
I mean, on a personal level, like I'm kind of a dyed-in-the-wool, blue dog Democrat, raised, working class. This is how we do, So my natural inclination is always to go for the very optimistic idea that if we legalize an industry, then regulations will be put in place and money will be generated and tax money, and it's all going to be really good for society and for the culture. And what I have found in talking to sex workers is that, and I think this is by virtue of them mostly being so stigmatized and being forced to be outliers, that they tend to lean a little bit more libertarian.
Less regulation.
Right, less regulation, because they're used to running their own show, really.
Right.
Also, though, and this is a really interesting and good point that I just kind of added to my repertoire recently, got woke, if you will, is that the way that we implement new systems of legalization, and you can look at marijuana as an example, right? All over the country, this is happening. Because our systems are so inherently racist and classist in this country, just from formulation, from inception, it is really, really difficult, if not almost impossible, to bring a new industry into the grander system of our country and not have those barriers of entry be also inherently racist and classist. So that is very, very valid. A lot of the folks that I talked to, talked about the financial barriers of entry to getting into legal industries, right? For example, and legalized marijuana still leaves a large opportunity for black market. because of those barriers to entry. And it is something that we are tackling. I've seen Seattle and California tackle in incredibly progressive ways, but there's such a long way to go. And I think that most of the sex workers I talk to don't trust the system enough to put a system in place that will work for them.
The problem is when government gets involved in anything, it tends to get weird or screwed up.
Right. And also,
they overregulate.
People don't want to listen to sex workers. They don't listen to them. Why are they not going to?
Well, because there's a myth that all sex workers are have chosen this profession because they can't get other work.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of this may be true, but there are folks who choose to do this kind of work.
Sure. I mean,
or are they skewed? I mean, it's hard to sort of talk about this because of the morality involved. And I mean,
you have to take that completely out of the picture.
You have to
look at a completely secular approach, which is challenging. I mean, do people choose to? We could really go deep and say, does anybody choose to do any kind of work in a capitalist society? We could go down that rabbit hole. Sure. But we only have so much time.
Sure. Thank you.
I honestly, I think that I tried to stay away from putting any kind of glossy veneer on this. I didn't want to just have people who told shiny, happy stories about how satisfying they found sex work or whatever. I wanted to run the gamut.
You wanted to get a realistic portrait.
Sure.
That there's this spectrum right throughout the whole book,
just like any other profession.
Right. But I would definitely say that, and I think that we achieved that. But the question there is is it anybody's business why somebody chooses to do the job that they do?
No. But there's this curiosity. I mean, both Jessica and I were talking.
It's because the subject's taboo, though. That's true. It's like, why do you do real estate, Jessica? What is the driving force? What led you down this path? Why are you selling houses? Yeah, because I was abused as a child. No one else is interested.
Never mind when most women are abused.
Right?
Almost every single woman I know has been the victim of some kind of physical, sexual abuse, right? So that's really a skewed statistic to apply to one profession. How many women in accounting were molested? Most of them.
Right. Yeah, but when your job is run-of-the-mill or considered to be boring, people don't try to dig into the depths of why you do it. So, yeah.
Yeah. But there is this, it goes along with the cultural taboo, because if you have a taboo, you also have a curiosity. I think it's inherent in.
I think it goes back to adolescence.
In humanity, right? In our lives as men and women, the minute you say, let's talk about sex, people don't want to do it, but they're really wanting to do it. Look at the. I was watching The Deuce. I could not stop watching this incredible program. Have you seen The Deuce?
I have a good story about that, actually.
Okay.
Yes. I have. It's wonderful. It's really good.
Yeah, it is a really great story about pornography in New York City during the 1950s, and it talks 70s, about the 70s rather, and it goes from the 70s when suddenly Times Square becomes this. Really, the street is all about freedom and all about sexuality.
God, that show made me nostalgic for New York. I never even got to know. It's so good.
Oh no, I know. And the idea that you get to know people who are doing a business that you necessarily would not choose for yourself. And I don't know if you've found that in your reading or when we're reading books or choosing what we're going to watch in movies, et cetera, that wanting to really, why do you do something? What's your story? I'm not going to judge. I just need to know. Just because I want to know. I can't do that, but you can. What? Help me to understand where you are. Help me to understand what it's like, et cetera, et cetera. And I think you found as you travel the country that when you ask these questions, your subjects just open up about everything. Am I right there?
I mean, I would like to think. I would like to think so. I really thought that people were not going to be as forthcoming as they were, because it's a cagey group of people, right? For good reason. In particular, because
cagey,
they're.
What do you mean by cagey?
They're working in an illegal industry.
Right.
Additionally, sex workers are very used to kind of cultural tourism and kind of exploitative journalism, right? So I was like, is anybody even going to talk to me? How candid can I get people to be? And I was very pleasantly surprised because people love talking about themselves, really.
Right.
That just affirmed it for me. They like talking about themselves.
How do you get trust of a person who you really can't trust your Johns, you can't trust your the cops, you can't trust maybe your coworker. I have that happens at regular jobs too. Now that I think about it, but there's a lack of
a
trust.
coworker in particular.
Exactly.
Bob's starting to finally relate it back.
Yes. Yep.
No, but it is true. But that lack of trust in the workers in the system. How do you, when you come in and you say, I'm going to write a book and I'd like you to tell me about yourself?
Just got to be cool, man. Just be cool.
Yeah.
No, I started with the people I knew, right,
yes,
who were
right.
my friends,
right,
and then took referrals out, right, and worked on referrals,
right.
And as the project took more shape, and as I felt like, I hadn't interviewed anybody for anything since like high school,
sure.
Newspaper class or whatever.
Sure.
So as my skills kind of honed and the idea became more solidified and the goal of the project became more solidified, I got more brazen and more comfortable, and then would get to where I could just walk into, say, a strip club or a brothel and talk to people, and then kind of work into being like, would you be willing to interview with me about this project? So there was a natural progression.
Sure. Could you tell me, is there a...
Being female helped a lot. Also.
Really? Is the oldest profession a profession run by females?
Predominantly. In the United States, I would say predominantly, yes.
Really? And the power dynamic between men and women in the industry is not unlike the power dynamic I'm realizing.
You're making all the parallels.
I can see the thought bubbles. It's really good. I like
it. You see the gears grinding?
And that's the goal. This is the goal. Now you're starting to take these base concepts and statements from people and they're universally applicable, right? You're going,
very eye-opening.
Okay, here are some dynamics. Yeah, exactly.
Sure. And the idea that these women go to work and they take a risk in a lot of ways. I mean, these are, I'll use the word brave. These are brave women. I mean, and many of them, or I use the word many, but I would assume that many of them are doing the work because they have a goal that they want to reach.
I mean,
I want to support my kids, maybe, or
sure. I want to pay my bills. I want to support my kids. I want to finance a book I'm writing. I mean, think about all the where's the list? Well, crummy. Think of all the crummy jobs that I've had to take over the years to be able to get this book out, right?
Sure.
I mean, so.
Yeah, and many of us would not have that. Would not have that chutzpah.
Yeah.
That courage to sort of say. Now, on the other side, a devil's advocate might say, well, many of these women are exploited. And usually
according to whom? According to them? Did you ask them? Do they feel exploited? I mean, that's generally my
exactly.
answer.
You're prejudging somebody without talking to them and treating them as a human.
Well, but there are studies out there. There are the other side that sort of says that this sex work is slavery.
Well,
who's doing the studies?
Well, I would say that the U.S. prison system is slavery, but
or maybe
or a regular 9 to 5 that you have to go to because you need your insurance and you have to have your 401k and you have to have your boat on the weekends. Like, isn't that also being a slave to something?
Slave to your job, yeah.
Right.
Slave to your lifestyle.
Personally, I think I think that we overuse that analogy too, really, in a way that that takes away from how serious of an issue slavery actually, like conceptually how serious slavery is. So when we just kind of apply it willy-nilly to anything that doesn't fit our paradigm of freedom or whatever, it takes away from the fact that people are actually enslaved. That's not,
No,
So
the people that talk to you in this book have made decisions about their life, and the majority of them are comfortable with those decisions. What would you say?
I think that we all wax and wane with how comfortable we are with the results of our decisions, right? Yes. I mean, most of the sex workers that I know and am close to, and I must admit, I tried to get as broad of a pickin' as I could as far as this, but socioeconomic spectrum was kind of one of the lower priorities for me. Geography, types of sex work, and gender and race were more important for diversity sample. But
I see.
So I ended up with mostly very working class people. I didn't go too far low and too far high. And I would say...
So you're not talking about Stormy Daniels.
Right, I'm not talking about Stormy Daniels, though I would love
she's a
to
great
talk to
marketer.
Stormy, find me on Twitter.
She's
talk anytime.
Yeah. She's an incredible marketer because she's made the most out of this situation.
Well, and also
she's capitalized big.
Well, she's smart. She she recognizes what she does for a living as fitting into her life at this time, and she sort of challenges the stereotype.
Right.
In a lot of ways.
And she is shrewd in a way that I really like.
Yeah.
She's a hustler.
Yeah.
But, I definitely talked to a few people who are higher income and some that were lower than working class. I had a couple survival sex workers that I talked to, and then I also talked to like Cindy Gallup, who is
Cindy is an interesting guy.
Yeah, she's amazing.
She's amazing. She's a bajillionaire, right?
Just about. I visited her. I shot with her in the in her loft in Chelsea, and I was like wide-eyed. I don't think I've ever been in anything that large in
There's
Manhattan,
a picture in your book.
Like music venues. Yeah. I was like, what is going on here? And it's full of amazing kind of sexual kitsch, which I think it was great.
Yeah. And Cindy actually has a job. Let's explain. Tell us something about Cindy.
Cindy Gallup, whose TED Talk you could definitely find and check out.
Cindy Gallup, Gallop.
Yes. She was some kind of major marketing executive who just decided, decided to start a porn company. And she... it's called Make Love Not Porn, and the whole idea, the premise is that the adult film industry is kind of kabuki theater, and she wanted to show what actual sex between normal, lumpy, bumpy people looks like, sounds like, and so there's a lot of educational resources on that website, and there's also there's a website called Clips for Sale, which is where people upload kind of amateur porn or their own, if they're professionals, they put it up there. But it's like that for private couples too. And anyway, it's just fascinating.
And she's making a ton of money on it.
I would imagine. So she seems fine.
Yeah, she's doing
well. She's great.
She's doing okay.
She's like in her. I don't know how old she is. She's a middle-aged lady who is very, very well put together, incredibly fun to talk to, very engaging, and she basically just like has a bunch of young stud muffins around her all the time in her beautiful apartment.
How tough is that?
Fine. She's doing fine.
Yeah. So we're going to take a break. Hey, why don't we play House of the Rising Sun? Incidentally, Jessica, there's a book that Russell has given one that he loaned to me. It's called Chasing the Rising Sun, believe it or not. And it's all about the song, The House of the Rising Sun. The Journey of an American Song. Ted Anthony is the author of this. And it's fascinating. And it's sort of like the Amazing Grace The Amazing Grace story, the song Amazing Grace, Amazing Grace. Okay, the opposite, exact opposite is The House of the Rising Sun. And so the book, you ought to read both books to get a perspective, because this is a really great thing. I'm going to play a version of The House of the Rising Sun that is an up-tempo version.
Tracy Chapman.
Tracy Chapman's version is great. We'll be back in about 2 minutes or so, folks, and we'll continue our discussion.
Here's a house in New Orleans called the Rising Sun. It's been the room of many poor girl. Bill God, I'm one. My mother, she's a tailor. She sews those new blue jeans. My father, he's a gambling man down in New Orleans. The only thing a gambler needs is a suitcase and a trunk. The only time he's ever satisfied is when he's on a drum. I got one foot on the platform, other foot on a train, going back to New Orleans with that ball and chain. Mothers tell children, don't do as I have done. Don't spend your life in sin and misery. House of the Rising Sun. There is a house in New Orleans they call the Rising Sun. It's been the ruin of many poor girls. And Bill God, I'm one. Bill God, I'm one. Bill God, I'm one.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Westfield Bank. For more than 160 years, Westfield Bank has been an important community presence and commercial leader in the Pioneer Valley. With convenient full banking services in Westfield, West Springfield, East Longmeadow, Agawam, Feeding Hills, Springfield, Southwick, as well as Enfield and Granby, Connecticut, visit us on the web at westfieldbank.org.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Barnes & Noble College Bookstore in the Ely Campus Center, offering Westfield State t-shirts, sweatshirts, and gift merchandise, all of your academic needs, and offering textbook materials in new, used, ebook, and rental formats. Available at the bookstore on campus or online at westfieldstate.bncollege.com.
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Commercial Distributing Company of Westfield. Now in its third generation of family ownership, Commercial is one of the premier beverage distributors of Western Massachusetts. The Placek family and the staff of Commercial Distributing wishes you good times throughout the year and urges you to drink responsibly. Underwriting support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by the Greater Westfield Chamber of Commerce, the voice of business for the Greater Westfield communities. Informing, educating, advocating, the Chamber provides opportunities for members to make meaningful connections on local, regional, and state levels. For more information on the Chamber's many events, workshops, and programs, as well as the benefits of membership, visit westfieldbiz.org. The Chamber focuses on the most important economy, yours. We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
He rules the roost on Thursday from 6 till 10. It's Patrick Berry.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB. Live from the campus of Westfield State University, this is 89.5 FM WSKB, Westfield.
Wow, it's Tuesday morning. It is.
I go into the command voice and Bob snaps too.
Yeah. May 15th, 2019.
Exactly.
We'll get you a riding crop.
Exactly. Hey, this is you're in the Whip City, you know.
This is actually.
This city is famous from back into the 1700s for making riding whips.
That's exactly right. No, we still have one of the only working factories that makes whips.
No kidding.
Yeah. Huh. Yeah. Russell can take you down and show you, Russell Atwood from Blue Umbrella Books.
Yeah, this city's famous for its whips and its bicycles.
So there we go.
Bicycles.
Hey, we want to let everybody know that we really enjoy talking to you, Blair. I wish you could come back and we'll spend another hour on this because it's so fascinating. Blair Hopkins' book is All in a Day's Sex Work. Okay, in parentheses. It can be found on Amazon, right? Mm-hmm. Barnes & Noble probably, too. I wonder. Yeah. And also, you can come down to the Blue Umbrella Bookstore right there. Jessica, what's happening down there?
2 Main Street, Blue Umbrella Books. Well, I mean, obviously today is going to be an awesome day with Blair in the shop. She's going to be there at noon today, and then also an official event from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. this evening. So stop by after work and hear more about the book. Check it out. Get a signed copy. I'm very excited to read it myself. I love this stuff.
Yeah. I'll hold the book up for those of you who are watching on Channel 15. Also, hey, it's got a beautiful woman on the cover, and her name is Arabella. She's one of your subjects.
Yeah,
Tell us about Arabella.
Arabella Raphael. She is an adult film performer based on the West Coast, and she gives a fantastic interview. She's been around for a long time. She's a pretty big name in the industry, and just a lovely, fascinating woman who I am very pleased to call a friend. So,
is there a cutoff point at which point people say, okay, it's time to retire from the business?
You know, if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life, right? There is one. There's a couple interviews actually that talk about that. One of them was Shannon. At the end there, she started escorting in her late 20s or something, which is a little late to get into the industry, and she thought for sure there's a shelf life here, you know. And what she found is that no, actually, just your clientele changes and your approach changes. You know, a lot of women in particular, tend to go into dominatrix work as they get older, or they go for kind of the MILF thing. Moms, I would like to do things, you know.
Oh, for God's sake.
So they go for that.
See American Pie.
Right. They go for that angle. Also, a lot of people branch out into more administrative roles in the industry, right?
Just like with actors, they become producers and directors and things like that.
Right. And it just depends on, but as far as escorts go, yeah, all you do is change your approach and your clientele. You can make a good living forever. Look at Nina Hartley.
I know who she's talking about.
Right? We got to get you learned.
Oh, my God, yes. Please.
God, what is she, in her 70s now or something? She looks amazing, but she's been doing for most of the last, 20 years. I mean, before that, it was other stuff, but mostly educational porn, right? Here's, this very... very, very graphic adult educational video on pegging or what, basically anything you could possibly think of. But, I mean, Nina's been around forever, and she's still working, producing, hustling, looking amazing, and sexy as hell. So.
There was, I have a great story. I was watching the channel on New York that's the public access channel, and every night they had a guy on, or once a week, a guy who would, it's sort of like the smiley guy from Saturday Night Live. I'm all well. I'm et cetera. You would watch this guy. He was
I look good. I feel good.
Oh, the affirmations.
Yeah. So he left his telephone number on the show, and I used to watch the show. And I said, "Geez, I got to call this guy because I find he's really interesting. I mean, he's a
only Bob."
So I called him, and he talked me into signing up for a session at his home. Okay. and it turned out to be an apartment.
I got the delay button ready.
Yeah, no. No. And I mean, it was about therapy, basically. It was about life coaching, basically. He's a life coach, apparently. Sure. So I go to his house, and he is there, and he's got this long, beautiful hair, and he's combing it in the mirror, and he said, "Would you get the door, please, and then go into the other room?" And I got the door, and the woman was, her job was, she ran. She was in the adult porn industry, but she was the woman who introduced safe sex in the adult porn industry. She was a former sexual performer like Stormy Daniels, who got into the business. And she was there with her companion for spiritual growth. Mm-hmm. And so we all sat around in a circle, and we talked about ourselves, etc. It was a real amazing thing that this woman who I looked her up, and she's in the history books. I think she'd probably end up appearing in the Deuce eventually, or I think I wish I could remember her name, but she really did a lot for changing the face of pornography in America by making it safe for pornographic stars to perform, because there was a lot of times in the 80s when folks were not being safe. And so all of her videos, all of the things that she produced were about safe sex. A very important thing. And so there she is sitting across, and I thought, geez, it's more than just, she's more than just what she does. She's more than what I assume, and what I assume really is probably not correct.
Right.
8 o'clock on WSKB Westfield.
And don't you think that as you, in your travels, you found that your assumptions are challenged, and you come away, after reading your book, I come away with a sort of feeling that, gosh, there are people that, do I want my daughter to go out there and choose this kind of life? Probably not. Very much not. But then again, there's that part of me that says what my daughter chooses is important for her, and let my daughter choose where she wants to go. And hopefully there'll be a world where we do not have to. I mean, the cultural taboo is I don't know how we're going to get beyond that cultural taboo. How are we going to get beyond that cultural taboo?
I think if you feel, and I mean, I'm not a parent, so I can't, if you feel like you've given your daughter a good, value foundation, good educational opportunities, good emotional support, whatever, throughout her upbringing, it will have absolutely, in my opinion, no bearing on whether or not she decides to do sex work. People say, well, I don't want my daughter to go into it. Well, that's because the idea of your kid having sex is really gross. Unless there's something super wrong with you, right? I mean, that's just great. Grosses you out. Skeeves you the hell out.
Oh, right. And then vice versa, they don't want to think about the parents having sex either. So no one wants to think about that.
For any reason. So, at the end of the day, what we want is, what parents, I'm told, want is for their children to grow up and do something that they find fulfilling, where they make a decent living, where they can support their families, where they are happy. All we want is for the people we love to be happy and safe. And there are opportunities within every industry for people to be happy and safe or not. And that's where breaking down the stigma about sex work and humanizing people and keeping an open dialogue become the most important.
Yes, yeah. And you end up really, in your book, giving a courageous and a humanistic view of a world that most of us don't know.
Thank you.
It's a really, it's an important thing. You're going to do more of it? Are you going to continue doing research, or
yes.
what's your plan here, Blair?
I have a couple other projects in the works, but ultimately the next thing with All in a Day's sex work is I want to do a more hyper-local focus. I want to do, now that I know that it won't take me 5 years to put out the next one. Now I know what I'm doing a little bit more.
Yeah.
I would like to do one full volume for each state of the union and make it kind of a encyclopedia of modern American sex work. So that's kind of the goal, and I'm not really. That's still formulating, but I'll definitely be doing more work with this because it is becoming more topical and daily. Yeah.
Wow! Oh my gosh! When we're talking Stormy Daniels every day,
right?
and it's becoming more not about her work.
Right.
It's really not about her work, and it's so interesting. And she's fascinating. She's a fascinating woman, as you are, Blair Hopkins.
Thank you.
Please come back and see us now. If you want to see Blair Hopkins and you want to meet Blair Hopkins, it'd be worth just to have 5 minutes of conversation yourself with this woman would be really great. And you can do it with the help of Blue Umbrella Books. Tell us all about it.
Blue Umbrella Books today will have Blair Hopkins at noon, and I'm sure she'll be hanging out at least for the afternoon, and then the official event starts at 5 p.m. So come on down 5 to 7 tonight as well. Get a signed copy of the book. Hear more of Blair's story and work.
Yes. All in a Day's Sex Work is the name of the book, Blair Hopkins. And you can go on Amazon.com, and you can also walk right down to Blue Umbrella Books or drive right down. If you want to see the book, talk about the book, pick up the book, read one page, and I think you're going to be hooked. Continued success. Come back and see us. Let us know when you're in town again, Blair.
Certainly will.
We'd love to have you here. We'd love to find out where your adventures are taking you next. And meanwhile, where my adventures are taking me next is right to May 19th at Shortstop. And Canoe the Musical is part of the Wow Cabaret series there. It opens this Friday night. It closes, Saturday night, excuse me. It opens and closes on the same night. It's a one-shot deal. Yeah. But, oh, yeah. Oh, yes, you can go down to Blue Umbrella Books and you can purchase your tickets for this. You can also, if you're a Westfield Senior Center member and you listen to Tina Gorman, and Wednesdays you can come in and to the Senior Center and get a little discount because the seniors love this show. It's the story of a marriage seen through the eyes of the man, me, and the woman with our psychiatrists. And it's a small 4-character musical. It takes place, it takes place in, we set it now in Westfield. I rewrote it a bit, so it takes place in Westfield. You'll have fun. Go on westfieldonweekends.com if you want to purchase tickets online. And thank you. Kathy Palmer is up next with Ken's Den. Ken is away having a great time.
He's in Vegas.
He's in Vegas. What stays in Vegas is with Ken Stomsky. Hey, everybody, guess who is 81 years old today? You won't believe it. Trini Lopez. Trini Lopez is 81 years old. Here's his big hit, La Bamba. I'll see you next week. Get out there and volunteer.
La Bamba!
Arriba y
Support for the community programming of WSKB is provided by Bay State Dental. Comprehensive dentistry at 14 convenient locations in Springfield, Chicopee, Longmeadow, West Springfield, Belchertown, East Longmeadow, Ludlow, Northampton, Greenfield, and Wilbraham, as well as 29 Broad Street in Westfield. Bay State Dental makes it a priority to help you achieve and maintain the healthy smile you deserve. On the web at baystatedental.com.
We thank the generosity of our underwriters. For more information, please contact the Westfield State Foundation at 413-572-8646.
Wednesday mornings from 6 till 8, it's Tina Gorman with Wake Up Wednesday.
Community Radio.
89.5 WSKB.